Hello, hello. Get my voice back. Oh. Hello, hello. This is Pixie doing another video. How are you? Hope you are doing all right. That's what you need to be. So I'm driving a different vehicle now. So not too wild. So this is Suzuki Ignis. Yeah, it's all right. It's a hybrid vehicle. So we'll see how it all goes. I had the other one for like at least probably about 5 or 6 years. So there was a natural, it's reached the end of its life. I mean, sometimes people maintain vehicles beyond where they should for sentimental values, but then it just doesn't make sense sometimes. So yeah, so just talk about some stuff today. I was thinking about currencies. As I guess the humans have implanted their psyche as a kind of like a level or a layer on this reality we already have, and that's why we're starting to create like smart cities. So our mind is going to be integrated with the material world. So I guess we're becoming more infused in this physical plane, and I think maybe we'll make more sense of the spiritual plane in the future. I think it's not something that can be dominated.
Thank you. Quite a great job using that word as well. Yeah, that's nice. You don't hear that word often enough.
There we go. I've got a smart car, so it's trying to think for me. So yeah, definitely. So society's being remodeled all the time, and where we fit into it, and how useful people will be in society, and their purpose. So I mean, if you look at like jobs and working and doing stuff, I mean, it could be that they might need you as a part of the smart grid. So they might want to wire you up to it by having a chip implant into your brain, and then collecting information and data. Maybe that's what serves you to get paid benefits, or you know, maybe they're looking to upgrade or improve that person's, the host's being in some way, because maybe they haven't really found what they want in life, or they've got some issues that need to be resolved, that maybe somehow this chip bridges that gap. And then the other thing as well is the way, so we talk about currencies, electricity, energy. Currency is money, as a store of values, transitions of values. And what's potentially going on there is that we have the fiat, which kind of is about consumption, really. It consumes energy, life, death, it creates debt. It's like a void currency. It absorbs things because it's based on future negative energy, basically future losses for a person. Like, you know, take a loan out and you've got to pay interest, or you took some money out in advance, you've got to pay interest on that. So you've got to add more back into the system to get anything out, and then the people controlling that system benefit from it, but they have to regulate it, and so it becomes a bit of a messy thing. And the other issue we got with society is that money is too influential, and corporations over the day-to-day running of people's lives. It's like you know, we can't have that because we're not going to make enough money. So what we do is we kind of push this forward, this law or act, because it benefits us, and we can sort of sell it as it makes sense. Like, you get blamed for like you have to pay taxes because of the environment, or taxes for things. I mean, the issue with the environment, global warming, is that we're taking up more of nature, of trees, things that normally would be there that control carbon levels in the air. So if you chop them all down, and then you punish people so they can't really drive many vehicles because they're paying too much heavy tax, but they won't actually outright sort of ban anything. They keep it going rather than resolve the problem, because it's something they can manage, that can make money out of. It seems to be more important than actually resolving the issues, which is a bit of a pain, really. What else do we do? There we go. And now we've got a new age, a new currency coming in, and it's basically the harvesting of data. It's all about data. So it does create What's that card then? Just parked there, it's funny. Yeah, it's basically, it creates things using data, and it's like the age of AI, so that's a part of this smart society. And so things like digital currencies, cryptocurrencies, all that, they play into this narrative. It collects data, information, the user. It's like a receipt is attached to the money. It's infused, because if you give someone a banknote, they give it to somebody else, they give it to somebody else. You can't tell how that money's, where, you know, basically how it's got to where it has. And you can, I guess, with banks and using chip and pin technology and Visa and all that sort of stuff. And then it just sort of, like, say, collecting information. And then there'll be things that will collect information on people, and it should be paying them in some way, really. At the moment, companies are collecting it and paying for them, so... So yeah, so we've got an interesting society, and then we've got these issues where fiat is has strong connections with war, we're afraid, and other things like that. And so in order to boost the fiat side, it seems like war has to occur in different countries. It's the only way to push that country into dealing with your currency directly, so that once they have a financially collapse, then you introduce, like, the dollar, and you say, well, we only trade in dollars, and your currency it's worth so much less than ours, even though it's just paper and values that have been projected, I guess, into this world. But when you got things digital, it'd be like the money's like little programs, and so it can send back information to certain people, or they're trying to say have a currency so you can only buy certain things with it, or certain people can buy it, or, you know, certain wallets and stuff like that. But it's not to be regulated like that. The thing is, it's the debt mindset. What you want is the maximum creativity and to capitalise on that as an intellectual intelligence, this artificial intelligence. And another thing I thought about today, it might be controversial, was that's this execution that took place in America. And I think there should be human rights in how you want to die. So if somebody says, oh, do you know what, I think I want to hang him on a tree and we can shoot him as well, or, you know, whatever somebody decides they think is the right form. Oh, we're going to inject a strange chemical in him and then harvest his organs while he's still unconscious. It could be anything. The problem is the person doesn't have the control. I mean, yes, you know, a person's destroyed someone's life in some way. Maybe it's intentional. Maybe he didn't, you know, or whatever. Maybe it never meant to happen. It did, you know. Like, I don't know. Maybe he wanted to do an insurance thing, caused a fire, didn't realise that a load of people were inside the home. They got all burnt alive, and then, you know, he's been given a life sentence, or beyond that, he's been given a death sentence. But yeah, I mean, if people have, as a basic human right, if you have to die, can you be given a choice? I mean, it might even be better just to give them a gun and send them off to a war zone and say, okay, well, you know, this is kind of what they did, I think, with Russia. But then, do we want to increase the problem by throwing cannon fodder in there? I don't know. What's the best outcome if you're going to be put on death row? But I don't think it's to die in a horrible way. It's suffering and pain, choking, suffocating, and so on. I mean, I can't see the real benefit. And also just the fact of being on death row, you take so many years before the person dies. Maybe they should be given the option of, like, you know, should we get over with now, or do you want to let things, well, at least reflect on it? But once you're dead, I mean, it seems silly that you're just sort of keeping a person alive in some place, and there's no redemption. You know, even if they did the most worst thing ever, there's never any form of redemption, which I think probably goes against the Christian ethos, really. I mean, I might think, well, he's an evil person, he's a demon or whatever, and that may be true, but maybe there's still room for some form of redemption. Even that's just like working for the rest of his life, and then past a point when his health fails, he's put down. I don't know, it's not nice thing. But it's just something I was reflecting on. I was thinking, we live in a nutty world, why prisoners got human rights? You know, when did they give that up? And if they've got no human rights, then you know, and things like once a sentence has been passed like that, a death sentence, then that should come at any time, really. If people can choose euthanasia, and that's starting to grow with some traction, I'm sure people that have been condemned, or even for life in prison, given the option, they could just, you know, I just don't want to live anymore. That kind of option for them. So, you know, depending on their circumstance. However, it's highly political, and I'm not a politician. I'm sure YouTuber reminds me, I'm not a politician, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a whatever. I'm just a person making videos on the internet. That's really what it is, and it's more for topics of interest rather than I'm news and science facts. So I'm trying to, because when something's structured in an institutional way, you have to serve that institution, therefore you have to follow their narratives, and if you don't, then you're kind of in breach of whatever they're structured around. So that's that. Anyway, so please sign off, have a great one, and speak to you soon, bye.